There were a couple of reasons. First off, I love the image and the effort I had to take to get it, okay? So essentially, this was about 3 hours of standing on a pretty steep incline on this lake, and the issue was getting the leaves still. Okay, this is the IQ 3100. Okay, and what the problem was, as the sun was setting, it was getting darker and darker and darker. And with the IQ 3100, I felt I could go at 400 ISO. So what would happen? My wife would stand below me on the right, and she'd start yelling at me when the lake was getting still, which would mean the leaves would start to get still. And so this is a stitched image. So I'm stitching across, right? I'm stitching across, and it might be, I don't know, 5 or 6 images stitched. And then all of a sudden the wind would come on, and the leaves would move. I'm done. Gotta start again. So I go over to the other side. She starts yelling at me again, and it took me 3 hours to get this shot. Okay. So that's the effort that went into this image. There's different things, of course. We've printed this image up to 28 feet across. I think it's 8 or 9 feet high. It's been installed at a bank in Ontario, in Toronto. And because it's a stitched image, of course, the file is about 4 gigabytes, right? And that's unupres. Right? So double it, give you a sense for it. The reason I kind of wanted to show this image, because with the IQ4 150, I wouldn't have had to wait 3 hours. When I printed this strip, or Jim printed this for me, so this is an ISO suite. So John from Phase 1 met me and a friend of mine in the Smoky Mountains, just for about 3 hours. And I did an ISO sweep, so I went from 50 all the way up to 6400. And I pieced together the images, and you guys can come up and have a look afterwards. And I want you to notice how sharp the images are at ISO 800, 1600, and 3200. How sharp the images and noise. That's what I'm looking for, is noise in the shadows. I would have had this shot done, maybe in 20 minutes, and I would have moved on to other spots. And I said to Wayne from Phase 1, I said, one of the things that really makes the IQ4 150 special, of course it's 50 more megapixels, which is awesome. For a guy who likes detail and large prints, another 50, sure, I love it, right? But really it's the workflow. It's the fact that I would have spent half an hour, 20 minutes at that spot, moved on to two or three other spots that I couldn't get to, and get images from those spots, and not hang out there frustrated, my wife yelling at me, panning across trying to get this image, right, because the leaves would move. And the other thing that I want to point out with the IQ4 150 is the camera's a lot faster. So it's a lot faster when you're panning across and you're clicking. You're not waiting forever for the card to write, the image to write to the card. And the camera just works faster. Right? And then the long exposure, how they do the double exposure time, that has changed. Right? And these are features I think that Phase 1 is not really talking about, that as a landscape guy are huge. Because like I said, I would have banged this off, and I would have been off and happy and not frustrated and moved on to my next shot. Right? But I think you need to think about it. Of course the 50 megapixels is brilliant, but really it's the ability to shoot at a higher ISO, the fact that the camera is faster, and the long exposures, the whole methodology of long exposures has changed. For me, that's that I find shooting panoramas and stitching. Because remember, I'm not stitching like a big field in a mountain. Like leaves, and little leaves, right? They need to stitch, and it needs to be dead still, right? And if you're doing 5 or 6 shots or more on even the IQ 3100, it's a lot of time. It might be 8, 10, 16 seconds. That's a long time to get a forest to be still by a lake at dusk.